I think we all derive a sense of accomplishment and value from the different things in our lives, like providing for our families, pursuing higher education, following our dreams. But when it comes to the topic of slide canceling, jump shotting, drop shotting, you can really start to tell who derives their sense of accomplishment and value from doing well in online video games. Now look, I love video games. I love tryharding in video games. I love sweating my ass off. I used to do a lot of game battles back during Call of Duty Ghosts. I used to partake in clan wars and ranked playlists quite often. Hell, even with Halo Infinite, I thought about getting into ranked, and after about a week, I decided I don't want to get into ranked. I have that element in me that if I like a game, I want to get better at it. I want to do better at it. So trust me, I know, I get it. I think the people that throw try hard at people's feet like an insult are kind of sad. Yeah, I'm trying hard. I didn't log on to lose. I didn't boot up this $60 competitive video game to fart around all the time. I actually do want to beat you, and I do want to prove to myself that I can. There is a sense of accomplishment there. Although, some people take it a little too far. And the way you can tell when someone's taken something too far is when they're unable to look at the topic. Instead of their opinion, the topic has nothing to do with your opinion. Your opinion is going to influence how you join in on the conversation, but here's the thing. Sometimes a discussion needs to happen just so that everybody feels heard, and that maybe changes can be implemented that are more well-rounded. I think throwing a get good or it's just part of a game into a conversation about mechanics potentially being abused, I don't think it helps anyone. So how do you talk about the topic without talking about your opinion? Well, you have to step back and look at the most intuitive, bare bones version of it, essentially. So let's talk about, for this video, solely, we're not going to go into every single movement mechanic in every single video game or even every COD game. We're going to talk about slide canceling, drop shotting, and jump shotting. I like jump shotting and drop shotting. I love doing it to people. I don't like it when it happens to me, but I absolutely love doing it. Slide canceling to me is cheesy. It was an unintentional thing in a new version of the engine that I just don't think they really anticipated people taking so much advantage of, and I hope it never returns. That's my opinion. It's my personal opinion. I don't like it. I think it feels good to pull off. It feels very fun to pull off, but it just also feels really unintentional, and from a third-person perspective, it looks really unintentional. And I think most of the advantages that come with slide canceling aren't movement and speed. It's fucking up people's aim assist in close range and screwing over low sensitivity mouse and keyboard players. That's really what you're doing. You're not breaking ankles, you're sort of breaking the game and making it just genuinely hard to aim at you. Not hard for a bad player, just genuinely hard.
Couple days. It might have took me like about a week to really just muscle memory. And this is a very broken movement that every pro player uses. I could say 99% of players, at least. I'm like so confident 100% player. Everyone uses it. It's just such a good movement. If you aren't using it, then you're just gonna get behind. It's just so good. Even the ARs do it. Every single player does it.
I think slide canceling to get to a location is one thing, but whenever I lose a gunfight because somebody literally slid into my legs with their gun, just it doesn't feel right. And what do I mean by right? When you picture the base movements of Call of Duty, you know, running, jumping, shooting, proning, crouching, that makes sense. And it's hard for me a little bit, even though I play a lot of Call of Duty, but it's definitely hard for people that are way more casual than I am to sort of get in the headspace of enemies are going to be sliding around the floor like it's made of ice really, really fast below where your reticle is going to be. They're gonna come in low and come up high. They're gonna slide cancel into a jump shot, slide cancel into a drop shot. They're gonna slide cancel and just keep slide canceling. It's gonna be awkward, so I don't like it. Okay, we've settled that. I don't like it, but I like jump shotting and drop shotting. But let's, again, look at it from the outside perspective. Is it intuitive when somebody starts firing at you to suddenly have to start shooting at the floor? Or in a close range engagement where somebody, you know, enters a door frame right when you do you really find it intuitive to shoot at your boots every time because of how prevalent drop shotting becomes? Do you like it when you're watching a doorway, waiting for an enemy to come through, and they fly through the doorway at 100 miles per hour into the middle of the room because they jump shot through the door? I consider myself slightly above average, so I can kind of, get that frame of mind. I can go, okay, slide canceling, drop shotting, jump shotting, people being spazzes, all right, let's do it, fuck it, let's go. I can do that. But again, separating myself from the equation, it's not an intuitive thing to do. You just expect a human-sized target to walk or run through a door frame, not fly through it. You expect an enemy who's just bumped shoulders with you to be bumping shoulders with you, not dropping down and licking your boots. And certain things like shotguns can make this way more frustrating. Somebody's on your screen, they drop down below you, and as you're aiming down, they put one shell of buckshot into your kneecaps and you're gone. It's very frustrating. Same with jump shotting. Someone flies around the door with an SMG, you have a gunfight. Somebody flies around the door with a shotgun, sometimes you're dead. Or if they're quick scoping, they're really good at it, they fly around the door, they aim down sight, you're dead. It's not intuitive from a third person perspective. And I think it's really telling that back in the day, it was this thing like, if you want to be good at Call of Duty, you gotta drop shot and jump shot. Drop shotting at range, drop shotting up behind somebody to really confuse them, doing all this shit. I remember watching so many different tips and tricks videos. It got to the point that almost everybody in Black Ops 2 would drop shot during a gunfight, and it aggravated me because it looked a lot less like taking advantage of an option and people just doing it even when they didn't need to because it was the meta, schmovement thing to do at the time. And Call of Duty has nerfed drop shotting in games like Black Ops Cold War, Black Ops 4, and of course Call of Duty Vanguard. You either have to use an attachment or a weapon perk to properly drop shot, and your ability to drop shot is otherwise just you falling down and hip firing your gun, so it's only really good in point blank range or to avoid enemy fire, which is what I think it should be for. I don't think you should be able to lock on perfect accuracy with your intuitive Call of Duty gun while suddenly making yourself a much smaller, awkward to hit target. Call of Duty nerfed drop shotting not because they wanted a skill-based mechanic removed from the game, but because it wasn't their intended vision for how gunfights should play out. It's not their idea for their game to be, you and enemy see each other, and you both immediately start licking dirt. They didn't want that, and I can totally understand it. And I think the problem the Call of Duty community has is that they see high-level players doing something, and they assume that means it's a high-level play. Sometimes when it comes to larger tactics between a squad, yes. But when it comes to mechanics like this, they want the path of least resistance to bamboozling and destroying their enemy. That's what a high-level player wants. They're not doing it because it's hard or cool to look at or whatever. They're doing it because it makes it easier for them to kill you and for you to die. That's the whole point. If something took a lot of skill and it was for high skill players, then it wouldn't be done. It just wouldn't be done. It would require too much setup and practice and wind up and pitch. So no. Quick scoping becomes second nature muscle memory, same with slide canceling, you just get into a rhythm. Drop shotting and jump shotting, it's not hard to figure out when to do either one. They're not high level because high level players use them. High level players use them because they're a way to decrease resistance in a gunfight. You get your muscle memory down, you practice the rhythm of a couple, key inputs, button inputs, whatever, and, bada bing, bada boom, you're breaking ankles and poning noobs. And while I do respect it to some degree, it's just something that the higher level players have adopted. And they've adopted it because they want to win. And that doesn't mean it has a place. I don't know why this has even been a concept in the COD community, that if something takes practice, then it should be in the game. If something is harder than something else, it should be in the game. I feel like you have to look at the game from a far third-person perspective, not from your own wants and needs, your own pet peeves, and your own playstyle. Look into the game. Should a weapon that can one-shot me in the torso across the map be agile and quick to use in close quarters? Just answer honestly. And you're gonna go, well, context matters and circumstances matter. And normally I would agree with you. But in some cases, you have to ask what's intuitive, and more importantly, if a large portion of a player base, regardless of whether they're better or worse than you, if they're constantly complaining about a mechanic or a playstyle or a movement thing, then maybe there's some merit to its frustration, and maybe the people that are okay with it are the people that would do anything to win in any match ever. And maybe we can't listen to Sweaty McGee over Timmy No Thumbs all the time. Do you think that high-level players use meta weapons because it takes more skill to use a meta weapon? No, it's the path of least resistance. It's less things to think about between your hands, your input method, your screen, and your dead enemy. I mean, think about it. You don't really have to worry about your positioning or your angles of exposure as much when you're sliding around at Mach 10 all the time. You don't have to worry about being caught without cover if you're constantly dropping to your stomach. And you don't have to worry about maybe being a little bit overwhelmed in a close quarter situation because you're going to jump around the corner instead of walk around the corner. While these mechanics do take time to learn, they are being learned by higher end players so that those higher end players have less to worry about in the game. That's why I respect it. But the conversation needs to be open to everyone and not just people who seem to obsessively derive all their value from how much better they are at online video games than you. Get good is not an argument for something's placement, and I do encourage you guys in the comments to argue for these things' placement in Call of Duty. Drop shotting, jump shotting, slide canceling, whatever it might be. But the one thing we have to keep in mind is if it wasn't quick scoping or drop shotting or jump shotting or corner camping or slide canceling, it would be something else. A subset of players is going to take advantage of a subset of mechanics at any given time. If it's not one thing, it's going to be the other. But that doesn't mean they need to be addressed any less by the community that's looking to discuss these things. Look, I can adjust to sweatier playstyles and faster movement. I love drop shotting and jump shotting people, I really do. But when I look at it from the perspective of your average gamer, your real average gamer, just getting home from work, wanting to shoot some bad guys and try to win a few games, the movement mechanics that are often employed, drop shotting, jump shotting, slide canceling, they're not intuitively matched to, I think, the idea of the game. I think it's fair to ask for more human-feeling gunfights where it doesn't look like your enemies are putting on an ice show or constantly, rapidly changing elevation, you know what I mean? And I think we need to hear those people out. We need to hear those complaints out. Again, out of the 3 movement things I'm talking about, I like 2 of them. So I am not coming at this just to say slide canceling's gay and it needs to go away. I'm not saying that, but there is something to think about here. If a high-level player is doing it, if high-level players, if meta players, if good, skilled players are doing something, the first thing you need to ask is why are they doing it, instead of immediately defending the action by the fact that they are. So ask why, don't defend it because. Thank you so much for coming to this tangent. Feel free to call me a filthy casual in the comment section, and hopefully for the gameplay I pick something really campy and boring to watch just to really make the comment section fun this time around. And if you're still watching, please click one of these videos on screen. Feel free to leave me a like or a comment or a share or a super thanks, and I will talk to you guys later. Goodbye.